What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kinda Funny Gamescast for Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. New York Game Awards nominated, a.k.a. Poppy of all trades, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Good day, Greg.
Of course, the man usually behind the buttons, it's Barrett Courtney. Hey, Barrett.
What's up?
Always excited to have you here because this is a special Kinda Funny Gamescast. But before then, let me remind you, of course, we're presented by 5 Hour Energy. Blast through the Outer Worlds 2 in style with an exclusive skin for your Raptidon in-game pet, brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. When you purchase a Purpleberry Punch or Mock Melon Brew 5 Hour Energy products, you'll receive a unique code to unlock exclusive The Outer Worlds 2 in-game content. Gentlemen, like I said, we'll talk about all that later. But this is a special Gamescast because we're reviewing Dispatch. But before then, Barrett, how are you? Like I said, you never get to be on this one. How are you?
We've been saying that a lot, but I feel like I've been on
it a lot.
Stuff a lot lately.
But I think,
and I think that's just encompassing of review season in 2025 and how many goddamn games there are, you know? Because usually on average in a year, I'm on maybe 2 or 3 Gamescasts, right? Like I reviewed Persona 3 Reload last year.
Were you on Metaphor?
I reviewed Metaphor, did the spoiler cast for Metaphor.
Yeah.
And I think those were probably the bigger highlights for me last year, where it's like this year it's been Assassin's Creed, and I'm blanking on some other things right now that I feel like I was also
recently,
a part of.
Yeah,
Silk Song. I think I did like 2 of the 3 Silk Song things that we did recently as well. But yeah, it's been a busy year in terms of games, in terms of life. I'm already... You know, we hit October a couple of weeks ago, so I'm already starting Game of the Year work for January, and so is Andy, and it's fun to start making those assets and to start to think about what is Earlist going to be like, because this is going to be the most 2021 year, I think, since 2021, where that was the year Ratchet and Clank won, and all of our lists were so different.
What's the Ratchet and Clank of this year is the question.
Donkey Kong.
Damn. You kind of nailed it, actually.
Bless, I've talked to you already, but are you surviving review season? You and I have talked maybe out in the second half of this show. We get into a little bit of review season, but you're surviving?
I am. I talked about this on like a stream or something a few days ago, where I think there are times when I'm playing video games, but I'm like not feeling it. You know what I mean? Like video game burnout, because we're always playing video games.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the opposite of that, where I kind of just want to play video games. And so it's been a great review season, because I set my eyes on 4 different games about like a week and a half ago.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to lock in. I'm going to review 4 fucking games in the next 2 weeks, right? Not because you like forced me to or anything like that, but it's just mainly because I really wanted to play and talk about these 4 games. Yeah, the passion is there. The interest is there. These are all like me kind of games. And so I didn't really want to miss out on any of them. And to my own surprise, paced it out pretty well. Where I think the first one was Keeper.
Yep.
And Keeper was like a shorter game than I even thought it was going to be. And so like I knocked that out, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm moving on to Ninja Gaiden, and then knocked that out. And then I was like, all right, I guess I'll play Dispatch. Yeah. And we'll talk about it later, because this is just the episodes 1 and 2 review. Right. But it being just episodes 1 and 2 kind of freed me up to go, all right, let me stop there. Let me move on to another game that I'm playing, and like really redacted, and let me pace this out responsibly. And so it's been a kind of a meticulous, like, you know, planned out review season for me in a way that feels nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that later, because this is the Kinda Funny Gamescast each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. We run you through the biggest topics in gaming, whether they be reviews, previews, or just topics we need to talk about. We cover it on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, and of course on podcast services around the globe. If you like that, pick up a Kinda Funny membership. Of course, $10 gets all of our shows ad-free. You get your daily dose of me, Greg Miller, in a series we call Gregway, and you get good karma for supporting a small, independent, 11-person business based in San Francisco. No bucks tossed our way, no big deal. Like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, tell your friends, subscribe, leave comments. You tell somebody you see on the street in a gaming t-shirt about us. You can get us, of course, for free on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, podcast services around the globe, as you already know.
We don't ask people to share enough. I feel like we ask for, like, you know, the Kinda Funny memberships and all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you're listening, if you're watching, show one friend the magic of Kinda Funny today.
There you go. We've
show
done
one
something
friend.
funny. Show, you know.
Let's double our stuff.
Pay it forward. What's that one movie with that one kid?
Pay it forward is a real.
Pay it forward.
Yeah. You keep. It sounds like you say pave it. Like
Pave it
paving
for
the
us.
streets.
Yeah.
This is what I want you to do. Speaking of
Was that not the kid goes out on the streets and
Paves it
them?
forward. He
Yeah,
just paves
yeah.
it all
when
forward.
next time you
3
hit up
streets at a time, and then 3 other streets
Yeah.
will pave. All that shit.
The next drive-through, the next like McDonald's drive-through or fast food
yeah,
drive-through
yeah.
you go to, you know how people will be like, "Oh, I want to pay for the person who's behind me." I want you to write down on a piece of paper the URL to Kind of Funny and tell the
There you
drive-thru
go.
worker, give
That's
this to the
good.
next car.
That's good. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to be a part of this show as we go with your questions about Dispatch, go ahead and super chat on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. I saw it earlier. It's already gone. Somebody said they'd hang out for a little bit and then leave. They want to play this and not have it ruined. We will not be doing spoilers for Dispatch. Of course, we'll get into what kind of game this is, but the story is very important and what you choose in the game is very important. So we won't be going through any of
And
that.
that'd be messed up to spoil the game before it's even out.
Yeah, but when I was Googling for trailers for him, somebody's already got the first episode playthrough up. So that's happening. So that is something that's out there and going on. Of course, we're an 11-person business, all about live talk shows.
That makes an email this morning.
I was gonna say,
make a lot more sense.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did. I didn't even think about it, right?
Yep.
Of course, Kind of Funny Games Daily already happened. It was about the price increase in Xbox dev kits. And after this, we're playing RV There Yet. If you're a Kind of Funny member, today's Greg Way is titled Slow News Day IGN and clocks in at about 18 minutes.
Damn, I can't believe you're going after Rebecca Valentine like that.
You know what I mean? Be fast on the ball,
That's
Red.
messed up.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl, Jacob, Omega Buster, and Delaney the Psalm Twining. We'll tell you about them and our sponsors and all that jazz later. But for now, it's time for Topic of the Show. Dispatch review, everybody. I can't believe we're here, Barrett. You mentioned this in Games Daily a little bit, but Dispatch announced awesome trailer at the Game Awards.
last
We were
year,
like
right?
amazing. Yeah, Aaron Paul's in it, Laura Bailey's in it, insane.
They have great chemistry on stage together.
A
and it
little
was
too
making
good at
all of
chemistry.
us.
A little too good, maybe.
Yeah, a little too good.
Ad Hoc Studios, the people who had split it off from Telltale, amazing. And then this year kept going. And it seemed like, okay, maybe this game's not going to happen. Maybe we get one episode of this game this season, this year, but it's not going to happen. And then lo and behold, they come out and they say October 22nd, we're putting out episodes 1 and 2. And the week after that, episodes 3 and 4. And the week after that, all the way to episodes 7 and 8 are out in just 3 weeks from today, or tomorrow, I guess, technically.
Yep.
Are you shocked that we made it, Barrett?
Yeah, we never got to do this on content, but I did get to be a part of a hands-off preview event thing like a month ago.
Yeah.
Where we got a little bit of time to ask the devs questions, and like hearing them talk about like how passionate they were about wanting to still stay true to like this episodic formula that this team knew so well from working at Telltale, but wanting having the drive to actually make that work in a sense of like actually being consistent about releasing episodes and not do the Telltale thing where, all right, here's one episode and now we're going to go quiet for 5 months and you're not really going to hear from us. So it was really exciting. We got so late into the year and it's like, yeah, this probably isn't going to come out. And I feel like I don't even know if I like realized this was episodic until like a month or so ago, but them like sticking to their guns and being like, hey, we've got 8 episodes and 2 episodes are out every week for a month. And I was like, all right, like they've got something to prove here and they're showing up so far. So I think it's very exciting that we're finally here.
Perhaps you don't know anything about Dispatch. Let me give you some stats and figures. Of course, the developer is Ad Hoc Studio. If you say I heard about that, but I don't understand why, from their Wikipedia, Ad Hoc Studio is an American video game developer founded in 2018 by industry veterans from Telltale Games, Ubisoft, and Night School Studio, namely Telltale alum Michael Chung, Nick Herman, Dennis Lenart, and Pierre Choret. The studio's first game, Dispatch, is set to be released episodically starting October 22nd and ending on November 12th. Publisher, of course, is Ad Hoc Studio and Critical Role. Critical Role has come in to help support this one. Steam description reads like this. Dispatch is a superhero workplace comedy where choices matter. Manage a dysfunctional team of misfit heroes and strategize who to send to emergencies around the city, all while balancing office politics, personal relationships, and your own quest to become a hero. Right now on Metacritic, there is no score. Of course, this is episodic, so many people are handling it different ways as they go. But some blurbs I have for you that I've pulled. Fraser Brown over at PC Gamer writes, Dispatch cuts out the filler, fully embracing its TV roots. It makes complete sense that this was originally pitched as a show, but what's impressive is that it's maintained that pace and energy in this new form. Some player agency is lost as a result, but not so much that I feel like my hands have been slapped away from the steering wheel. 2 characters sorry. It did the thing where I copied in the fucking caption of the photo that I
yeah.
So back to it. And it's with great sense of relief that I can say it's a great superhero yarn and genuinely funny without caveats like quote unquote for a video game. And that's still pretty rare, certainly when it comes to comedy. I get startled when a game makes me properly laugh. It's so unexpected. But Dispatch got some real guffaws out of me. That's enough to keep me to stick around for all 8 episodes. Meanwhile, over at the Gaming Bible, Kate Harold gave it a 10 out of 10 these first 2 episodes.
Wow.
There's still a long way to go with 6 episodes of Dispatch yet to drop, but I find myself almost entirely without trepidation as we look ahead. Dispatch's opening 2 episodes have assured me of what an exceptional experience this game is going to turn out to be. Ad Hoc Studios has nailed it across the board. Dispatch boasts engaging storylines, amusing humor, perfect cast performances, and beautiful animation, all backed up by a unique and compelling gameplay system that allows the experience to sing. This is shaping up to be one of the best games I've ever played, says Kate over there.
Wow.
Strong words.
That's glowing.
Yeah. That's a 10 out of 10.
Cow.
That's what you'd expect out of it, right? Of course, we have played these first 2 episodes. We did have access to all 4, though, Barrett, and you made a reference to this earlier. You boys stopped at 1 and 2? Is that
I stopped at 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I went on, of course, and that's where we come into an interesting caveat for you. I talked about this in Gregway last week, but for your own edification, as you hear us talk about these, it's worth noting that I went down and did a sponsored gig with them where I hosted a conversation with the voice cast. So I have taken money from Ad Hoc Studios recently, and I want you to know that, as I'm still going to give you my opinion of the game, which I gave to them in person straight up when we were there.
And to be clear, even though you went ahead, this review is only
1 and 2, and I'm not.
first
And again,
episodes.
I would never ruin the twists and turns, not only of the story, but of these episodes or anything. I want you to get in there, experience it. So, Barrett Courtney, you're on the desk. You're here hanging out. What do you think of episodes 1 and 2?
Dispatch, the first 2 episodes, I had a really good time with. I think this being a game that I've been looking forward to for almost a year at this point, but not being so rewatching trailers all the time, not being like obsessed with it. I was, and being able to preview it like a month ago, I think I was expecting a little bit more from these first 2 episodes to hook me in, because it felt like these first 2 episodes don't do anything more, for me at least, than like the trailers did. It's kind of like setting you into the premise, getting you a better idea of like who these characters are, what their relationships are, and getting you into that gameplay that I know a lot of people were taken by from the, what was it, like another Steam Next Fest demo or something like that.
Yeah, earlier in the year.
And so a lot of it was like, all right, yeah, this is the game, and I'm excited to get another hook in me past that. And I think where this week's pair of episodes leaves off, it doesn't quite get like an extra hook in me. Like, I'm already sold, I'm already on board, but these first 2 episodes didn't like bring in a new factor where I'm like, oh man, now I'm completely sold on this. This is the only thing I'm going to be thinking about for the next month or so. I think the humor is solid. It does a lot of, potty humor, a lot of swearing, which, if y'all know me, is kind of my forte as well. But nothing that like really stood out to me as like unique or new. I think the world is something that I'm wanting definitely more from. I think even the way that they're depicting some of the powers is really fun and interesting. The main character, who is Robert Robertson, right?
Yeah, played by Aaron
his
Paul.
whole premise, like I love the premise of like, he's essentially almost like Iron Man's grandson who has inherited the suit, but it does not have the smarts of a Tony Stark.
Yep.
So it's just like, he's just kind of a guy and kind of a dude, and is thrown into this situation where his suit no longer works, and he's now working at this Dispatch location. And I think like the premise is there and it's solid, and I think the thing that really stood out to me was more of like not the humor or even like the kind of like main relationships up that they're setting up, but more of like the more intimate subtle relationship stuff that they're building. Like Jeffrey Wright's character, I think
So good.
Aaron Paul and Jeffrey Wright work so well together with those characters that those smaller moments of familiarity and comfort that you feel between some of these characters really stood out to me, more so than like the Office comedy humor stuff that it has going on, if that makes sense. I would say like my biggest thing with the first 2 episodes, I would say is pacing. I felt like was a little weird, which is why I think this is like the first 2 episodes to me are like a 7.5 good. I think it's a good starting foundation. I will check in every week. But I think for me, I thought the kind of pacing out of kind of the big tantalizing thing of this game that makes it unique from a Telltale game or another episodic game like a Life is Strange or something is the kind of strategy dispatching stuff that you're doing, which I don't feel like I got enough of personally in these first 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's
you
really
do like
episode 2 thing.
Yeah, you do like kind of a tutorial version of it at the very end of the first episode, and then you get your first like actual chance with it in the second episode. And I think even just like the way that they pace that out is kind of weird, and even just thinking about it in terms of comedy, like I think it would have been better if those 2 things were closer together, because your tutorial version is like how a normal day at dispatching work goes, working with normal heroes, and then you work with these all shitty ex-villains who are cracking jokes and are, you know, taking bets on when you're going to quit and all that stuff. Like there's just something about some of that I think could have been paced a little bit better. But you know, I'm still excited for it, and I'm excited to see where it all eventually goes.
Less top level. Where are you with 1 and 2?
I think this game makes such a good first impression.
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts as far as like what it's doing as a video game and how much I could just watch this as an Amazon show. If it was, I say Amazon just because like just
Invincible.
It looks like Invincible's art style.
It looks like Invincible. It reminds me of something like The Boys. It feels, I mean, it's so much in the ilk of a lot of the superhero parodies that we get nowadays, right? Like things that are kind of, you know, flowing off of, oh, you've seen this. Oh, you've seen Suicide Squad. Oh, you've seen the Iron Man, right? And it's making fun and like kind of doing its own twists on a lot of these things, which we've seen a lot. But what I will say is that even though this is well-worn territory, I think this game keeps it very fresh, and I am not tired. Like I don't feel a sense of being tired of this thing while playing this game, right? I think it has really great writing. I think the characters are really engaging, and I think the dialogue is fantastic. I think the game is really pretty, which is where the first impression thing comes from for me, where as it starts, I'm like, wow, if this wasn't a video game, if there was zero interaction to this, I would be fine just watching this as a TV show.
Yeah.
But then you get into the video game of it, and I like the choices you're making. Obviously, with it having this lineage of formerly Telltale people working on this, you get the pop-ups that are like, this person will remember this
that.
and all that stuff. And I want to see how that stuff plays out, because I think they set up some really interesting things with that. But even beyond that, you talk about the dispatch part of it, and I actually didn't mind how it plays into this. You know, it's so interesting looking at this in contrast to a Telltale or Life is Strange, but I'll stick on Telltale because that's where the lineage is. And when you think of the interactivity with Telltale, it is walking around these like limited spaces and like picking up items, and maybe those items come into play later on, like more traditional sort of choose your own adventure game stuff. For this game to go, no, you're not doing any walking around. Like, there's no walking around in this game.
Yeah.
Your gameplay is making choices in the dialogue and doing this dispatch thing.
And at the beginning, they even say, like, do you want the cinematic experience? Like, you can take all the choice, you can take all the motions out of it, of like doing, you know, QTEs or whatever. We can just play that for you, and you can just make choices.
That's a good call out. Yeah. So there's QTEs as well, which the game is like, do you want to do them or not? I think it's kind of ballsy, and that's, I think, where there's more of a conversation there as far as, does that work? Does that not work? Like, how does that compare to if you're able to actually control these characters? I really like it, though. There's something to it that I think it's deep enough to really actually put you in the role of this dispatcher and making choices and actually having a gameplay flow that is fun in the moment but doesn't overstay its welcome. And there's a lot of flavor there as far as how they use that to develop this cast of characters that are essentially a Suicide Squad like cast of villains that are trying to be superheroes or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they do a great job with all these things. I come out of this, if I'm going to give it a score, with a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
I think the first 2 episodes are amazing. I think they're fantastic, and I really can't wait to play more.
I love Telltale. I love Telltale games back in the day. I think so many people know me from Walking Dead or Batman post shows or anything where I've just, me and Mitch talking about seasons 1 or Up at Noon or yada, yada, yada. So like them being a Bay Area company, I knew Telltale so well in terms of both the experience. You didn't know that?
I had no idea.
They used to be up in San Rafael.
Okay.
Rest in peace. but then they rose. No, San Rafael still very much.
That was the Avalanche. Took out
I got bad news, guys. I just got news. No, all that I feel and love. So like coming in here, especially for them to tackle superheroes, in a grown-up way, a mature way, and maybe immature way. But it's what I always say, right? What do I want from when an Invincible game? What did I always want from a Superman game? Give me a Telltale game. We know these guys are all powerful, so give me choices. Am I going to save Lois or am I going to save the Kents and make that matter? And they gave us, to a degree, with Batman and made interesting choices with the lore back then.
Yeah,
I was stoked for this. I was excited for this, but I was prepared for another Telltale game. Jumping into it, my first impressions were, holy shit, does this look good? I can't believe how well this is running. Telltale games always ran like trash, and I know that's not to put this all on the shoulders of Ad Hoc. There's a whole bunch of stuff and mismanagement of the studio and yada yada that they had nothing to do with. So to get in here and have it actually be that, like, the music is fucking awesome and it feels like I'm watching a Amazon TV show. The visuals look like this. The performances are so good. We've been talking a lot about Jeffrey Wright, Aaron Paul, Laura Bailey's in this, of course, who we know from everything, right? Matthew Mercer, Alana Pierce. Shout out to Alana, who does great in this game as well, right? Thought Squad, who I now know, who's amazing. Aaron Yvette, who's been in like every Telltale game forever. It's just, they have such a great thing going here for the presentation and what they're doing and the story. Like, episode 1 being sub an hour even. And granted, like, you can...
I would say both of them are probably 45 each. I replayed them last night.
Yeah. And so, like, you're to the one I read earlier, the review from Frasier, who's like, they cut all the fat and this is like, you're no filler. 100% true. Like, I was in the entire time. The only time I felt myself falling out of it was the dispatching. Like, the gameplay you do in this, again, Kevin, if you can throw it up, I sent you gameplay pulled from the demo. This is off of Full Play by Gamers Little Playground when Kevin gets it up through Slack.
Shout out to Gamers Little Playground.
You go in, you pick who you're putting on the mission. You have to look at what their strengths are on this pentagon here that has, like, fighting, their brain power, their defense, whatever, their speed. And then they have if they're going to succeed, fail. When you come back with a mission, you get XP that you can then put into their points to make the characters better. It didn't take me out, but it was the part where I was like, oh man, full breaks on the story we were doing to go in here, which isn't 100% true because they do a great job of having all the superheroes you see down there that we're covering, but like Golem, Prism, Coop, talk to each other.
Yep.
And it's entertaining and it's pushing the plot and it'll pull from what we just did and what choice I just made and into this whole thing. The whole thing, it's frictionless because you could fail every mission and keep going. There's not going to be a game over. There's not going to be a thing. But it was for me like, oh man, Invisigal said something. There was a great plot point right before this that I'm more interested in getting back to. None of it overstays its welcome. It wasn't long enough for me to feel like, oh man, I don't like this, whatever, da-da-da-da-da. And again, this is early. It was the tutorial. It was just episode 2 where you're really doing it. Hopefully it warms up. As I make the team and I put more stuff in there, I'll be more stoked with it. But everything around it, I think for me was that I'm amazed. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then this came in and I'm like, well, now we're talking about how do you review a video game versus how do you review a thing I'm mainly watching, even though I'm doing, QTEs in it and stuff in this hacking game. Right now for episodes 1 and 2, I was going to say I'm 7.58. Like I think the experience of what you're doing here and going through it is probably great. I'm not sold on the gameplay portion necessarily of it, and not sold saying it's good. This still is, for some reason, PC gaming, am I right? I booted in here and it looks like maybe my save got copied over wrong or whatever, and I don't have my save. So I'm going to need to replay episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, it turns out. Damn. And I'm excited about that. That's not like, oh, what a bummer. It's like, ooh, I'll get a place. I'm going to play it on PlayStation, have Jen be there and go through, you know what I mean? Yeah. Get some trophies. Hell yeah. But it's like, I'm not bummed out by that. And I think coming back, I had a lot of what you talked, Blessing, about with your demo. Yeah. When you did the demo, you talked about finishing it and being like, oh, I didn't realize it was this kind of game. And you went and ran it back. Yeah. I think me jumping in and now understanding a bit more, because when you're looking at all the, the ideas here of what a character's strong with, right? What the duo is strong with when you put more people in there. That is that decides if you win or lose. And I wasn't good at that in my first time out.
Yeah, to explain it for people who might not be aware, right?
And also for audio listeners. I don't know if I'm doing a good job.
And for audio listeners, yeah, like when you're in the dispatch mode, it essentially turns into a management simulation where you have 8 different heroes that you're commanding and telling, oh, hey, there's a cat stuck in a tree here. Can you go and do this and save them, right? Oh, hey, there's this vandalism happening over there. And based on what type of help people need or what type of thing is happening, you then have this cast of supervillains, or formerly supervillains, now superheroes.
Yeah, the idea is you're running basically, as it was, we said it, we
Suicide
say
Squad.
it, but yeah, Suicide Squad. These are villains who are looking to be reformed, so they're here trying to work off.
And they each have their own stats to them. And so it's things like intellect, charisma, mobility, I think strength might be one, right? And like
defense.
yeah. And so based off of those stats, you have to read, okay, who's somebody who's best equipped to save a cat out of a tree, basically? Who's the person that's going to be able to show up to this, big opening of a new area of the city, and we need somebody to like speak on behalf or whatever. You know, like you have to make those decisions.
Who are two
in the moment.
people that you can know might be able to work well together to sneak into a thing. You know?
Exactly. And so as you go, you can also level up characters and like maybe increase stats and things like that. And yeah, you have like these different scenarios that they put you in the role of a 911 dispatcher, essentially. Yeah, except you have superheroes that you're throwing out here.
And so, yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's not super deep, but it is. Like, I feel like there's that thing of like, I didn't understand, I really should be assigning 2 people to max it out. I was like, well, I want people on my bench so if another call comes in, I don't fail the call. But again, it's very lenient in terms of like leveling up and moving things around.
And
so
like,
I want to experiment more.
Yeah, and talking with or listening to the devs talk like a month ago, it was funny hearing them talk about like the reaction from the Steam demo, and them they were saying like, people take that stuff way more seriously than like we do in terms of like how good you need to be at it and like how deep it is and all this stuff. For them, it sounds like just another fun aspect to like actually have a gameplay element that makes sense for the story that they're telling, and then also, build story around that as well. So like, I'm really, again, it's tough to really talk about these first 2 episodes alone, right? Because a lot of it feels like setup. I'm interested from a gameplay standpoint if there's more like story payoff from this part of the game than just upgrading your characters. Like, they also have stats that like they have like a leveling system where, let's say Malevola levels up, you can make her give her 1 charisma point or 1 strength point or whatever. I wonder if that comes into play of like, if you get certain characters to certain levels by a certain story beat, does that unlock like a different choice or something like that? Like, I'm interested to see if we get payoffs in terms of story and not just gameplay and how that all integrates together. That stuff I'm really excited and interested for.
And I guess that's part of it for me, in that you'll see as these episodes go on, right, as we get deeper and deeper into the season, is the idea, Barrett, to your point of, are the actions I'm doing inside of here going to affect it outside? Because like right now, in a perfect world, what I would love to do is that this was a spoiler cast, and I say, hey, there was this big choice. Did you do this or that? Like, and what about this little choice? Like,
we should do a full season.
Yeah, at the end, those are the permutations I'm the most interested in, and not, well, did you win the battle and did the thing? And so are we building to a thing where it's like, oh shit, I really should have, because now there was this big deal. Like, and you would assume so, but who knows?
See, and that's my thing is I think I'm coming out of these dispatch sections not necessarily thinking about like how I affected the game or whatever, and more so understanding the characters better. Like, I think this is just an avenue for you to like learn who Coupe is, or learn who Sonar is, and understand Invisigal. Like, you have these 8 characters that I'm sure are going to be more consequential to the story as you move forward.
Especially as you make choices about them.
Yes. And so like this kind of being your way to interact with all of them at the same time and having them interact with each other while you're doing this thing in between of dispatching them out, I think works really well in integration to the story.
And just more of like thinking about how they could play with each other. Like, if you make a certain decision in just like the story part of it, will that eventually like affect gameplay stuff here, right? If you decide to be an asshole to Flambe at some point, like, does at one point he say like, you tell him to dispatch and he just goes like the other way or something? Right. I'm interested to see like how that could ebb and flow and all that stuff. And I'm interested to see like how deeply they actually thought about with this being another avenue for storytelling through gameplay, how that all kind of messes with each other. And again, it being the first 2 episodes, it's kind of hard to see the full vision, which is why I'm like, I think I'm a bit cooler than, seemingly a lot of other people on it, but I'm excited to see what the payoff is.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is I'm excited for more. Again, even being like, the management, I could take or leave. Like, I'm still like, I want to go see where the story's going. I think they've done really a great job of making a compelling cast. Like when you go through and actually start getting into the weeds of these people and making the choices with them, like, okay, I'm starting to vibe.
Something that's not necessarily factoring into my review of episodes 1 and 2 because it's slightly unrelated, but it is very related to the game as a whole. I don't like the episodic thing.
I want to talk about this.
Yeah, because I don't know. I guess I see what you potentially benefit as far as having the week-to-week conversation.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's how games work nowadays.
Well, it's an interesting thing that I'd love to talk about right after I remind you about how Kind of Funny works. Of course, we couldn't do this without your support. Pick up a Kind of Funny membership over on patreon.com/kindoffunny, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, Apple and Spotify to get all of our shows ad-free. Get your daily dose of me in an exclusive podcast series called Greg Way. And of course, get good karma for supporting a small business. But right now, you're not using your benefits. So here's a word from our sponsors.
Greetings, taste buddies. Wishing you could sip the bold taste of tomorrow, today. Now you can with the ripest flavor creations from your friends, the makers of 5 Hour Energy. First up, we've got Mock Melon Brew 5 Hour Energy Shots, inspired by the new video game, The Outer Worlds 2. Mock Melon Brew 5 Hour Energy Shots have entered the flavorverse. Why bother with messy vines and sticky seeds when you can craft genuine flavor from the finest mock melons? Dive into the carefully curated flavor of sun-simulated sweet, refreshing watermelon and experience the stellar taste and interstellar energy of Mock Melon Brew 5 Hour Energy Shots. Looking for something even juicier? Introducing new Purpleberry Punch 5 Hour Energy Shots. It's got sweet, juicy grape, zealously zesty lime, and a warm ginger kick. Both flavors pack a powerful zero sugar wallop of 230 milligrams of caffeine, B vitamins, and nutrients so good it should be against company policy. And for a limited time, when you purchase a Purpleberry Punch or Mock Melon Brew 5 Hour Energy product, you'll receive a unique code to unlock exclusive The Outer Worlds 2 in-game content. Blast through The Outer Worlds 2 in style with an exclusive skin for your Raptidon in-game pet. Brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Get your real mock flavor online at 5hourenergy.com and Amazon while supplies last.
And we're back. Of course, as we said at the top of the show, maybe you weren't paying attention though, this is episodic. Episodes 1 and 2 dropping tomorrow, Wednesday, October 22nd, and then 2 episodes all the way down till we're done with 7 and 8. The question is episodic still the right move? Mm-hmm. My other question, and we can tackle them in any order, is Dispatch going to sell? $30 is the question here. Obviously, we're working with 1 and 2, 7.5 from Barrett, and 9 from Bless, 7.5/8 from Greg on these ones.
I think
lots to unpack, but they're the same similar conversation, maybe?
Yeah. In terms of selling, I think it was an interesting choice, and not to give me, some grace to understand where I'm coming from here. Not to be like, oh, I want the full game now type of thing. Yeah. But I think if you're looking for this new IP to like really hit and to like have people know, like my best friend Ricky, who's like into video games, but not super paying attention to them all the time, loves Telltale's Wolf Among Us, loves this episodic stuff. For him to know about this type of stuff, I think you need that like almost full season review today.
Yeah.
Maybe not the final episode, but like a full thing of like, so you have outlets like IGN who aren't giving it reviews today.
Did they even review it?
I don't think they
I was looking for
the
review
first
in
2
progress.
episodes. So I wonder if outlets like that are waiting for the final episodes to come out in a month.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of like a selling marketing beat, like I get wanting to do the conversation week to week with the audience, but I think to sell and to have an audience, you got to tell them like, hey, the reviewers played this entire thing and they say it's worth it, and they're like, you should be excited for the week to week conversation because it's going to keep pulling you. And I think this was a weird, maybe possible misstep into like selling people on jumping in for the first week.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I also wonder, can you buy this just the first episode or just the first 2 episodes?
No, you got to
have to buy.
I think there's a demo. The chat has been saying that
the Steam demo is still up.
According to chat, it's just episode 1, I believe.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is? Because I remember, I think that's another reason why I'm kind of with you, Barrett, as far as it's kind of a weird, I guess, like marketing / just a progression of how you've done this embargo. Because back when I played the demo for this game, it was basically most of episode 2 is what the demo I played was. And so like for me it's weird review. Like if I'm IGN, I wouldn't review it either until I have the full thing, right?
I mean, but we've talked about this in our content meetings every week, but I mean, behind the curtain here, it is that idea of like, I would love to review Dispatch every week. I would love to. We're not going to do that. I'm worried about what the views of this episode will be, let alone like if we were going to
just do episodes 3 and 4.
It would be just through the you start the I didn't play episodes 1 and 2, so I'm not going to read 3 and 4 or watch 3 and 4, and like you get into that mix of it, and so I think that then brings us to your question of like, was Episodic a thing anymore? And like, there's this argument, sure, that could work in their favor of it's episodic, and if you have 2 bangers every week, there is a conversation on shows, message boards, Discords, or whatever that keeps it in the conversation.
Yep.
But there's also really easily, anytime this happens, that you fall behind. You buy this. You play episodes 1 and 2, 3 and 4. You're busy. 4 and 5 come out, and everybody loves it. But I didn't want to do 3 and 4. I mean, it's like you get into that mix of we're no longer competing just for video game attention. You're competing for everything, whether it be TikTok, a movie, music.
I think that works if this is dropping on Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? I think that works if this is dropping as a Netflix video game. But when we're talking about buying the game for $30, you have to then, to Barrett's point, sell people at the beginning that they're going to play this week to week and like keep up and do all that stuff. And I don't think, I mean, most of the people that are going to play this are probably going to play this after all the episodes are out. I'd imagine, because they're going to want to see those reviews.
A lot of chat has been saying that they want to wait for it.
And so I think what you're doing then is disjointing the conversation, right? Like I think you're making it so that there's not this big wave of, oh, damn, I played through Dispatch, y'all got to check out this game. It's like people aren't going to be saying that until maybe the end. And then at that point, have you just lost the
And I worry about it too on that point of like, and I even the conversation we're having, I feel like is a conversation out of time, because like at IGN, sure, we would do, hey, we're going to have the discussions between Mitch and Greg about the episode. But like, IGN and GameSpot don't have any coverage up right now of this review embargo. And that's not knocking them. It's a busy time and they're a huge website and they need to serve the most people. So it's this question of then, I don't feel like there's a place to go to have the conversations if you wanted to have them.
Yep.
I love what I've seen. I love ad hocs from what they've done before. I'm going to be a part of this conversation. I feel like you need this is where you go. When the episode happens, then you watch this show, you go to this Discord, you go to this channel. And I'm sure they have an ad hoc Discord. I'm not a Discord person. I want to talk to y'all about it. But if I come in and Barrett had a new Hot Mulligans album, he didn't play this the night before, it's like, well, okay, when are we going to do it?
Yeah.
And I also think you run the risk of, and this is just, basically this is like how fucked it is to try to market a video game. You run the risk of, it is a banger, and these sites are covering it every week for the next month. At what point does the person who was waiting to see if they should buy it just get sick of seeing Discord or Dispatch thumbnails and headlines and stories? They don't want to watch it because they're waiting for the full thing, and then they just, I don't know.
That's why I think like it would have been smarter to do again what Netflix and like HBO will sometimes do, and TV shows is like, here's the entire season except the finale. Just so you can have like a general sense of like, oh, this entire season has the sauce. Maybe it drops off by the finale fucks it all up, but like you have a full understanding of what the season is, so you can tell the audience like, hey, this is something worth to check in on every week.
Yeah.
And so I do think that this very important first beat a day before release, I think, was a big misstep.
I have an article here from IGN, Ryan McCaffrey, September 16th, where he has a quote from people from Dispatch talking about the episodic thing, where they say, quote, "We think the release format is an underrated part of the player experience," ad hoc co-founder and Dispatch creative director Nick Herman said. "Episodic is a format that makes the story easy to slip into, easy to keep up with, and easy to share with friends. We want the launch of Dispatch to be appointment gaming, but with the weekly cadence of a TV show, as opposed to asking people to wait months between each release." And I understand it. I just don't think that's how video games work. I think that's my thing with it. I think I think if you were going to do this, I would have really targeted the streaming community of, hey, play this live with your audience.
Well, Let's talk about the cast then.
Sure.
Because you do have Alana Pierce, you do have Moist Critical, you do have
Jacksepticeye.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think there is going to be a bit of, hey, we do have these big streamers who will probably play their game, and hopefully that helps in terms of it also being a B. And yeah, you have Thought Squad in there, you have Young Gravy as one of the voices, you know, and so like they do have a cast, and I think that cast is also a big marketing thing.
Sure. This is such a weird push and pull of what it is and what it is to make an indie game in this day and age. It's like, who are you trying to serve, right? You can't try to go to everybody. That's just not how it works. So I opened their Discord here, right? They have just shy, of 10,000 members, right? So it's like, if you're trying to serve that audience that is going to come here and is going to nerd out and is going to talk and stream on their channels, like, I don't know. This is clearly something every video game struggles with. How do you capture market share and attention and keep it going?
And I do think I'm more coming at the criticism of the episodic thing, just more of like the marketing standpoint. I think in terms of like the audience thing, I do get the passion. I do get their belief and understand their belief in this formula, and having an audience and a community that comes together every week to talk about it. Maybe it's, they're not going to the IGNs and GameSpots to check in on reviews, but that's because they're just going to have conversations with, their fellow friends that they've made in this community, right? Which I think is is admirable for them to try for like their first game out from Telltale, to see if we can do episodic and actually have it be consistent for the first time in forever, because we're not working on an engine that is killing us, and we have a specific vision and we're using it in an engine that we can use to actually build something that works around a story that we want to tell, and we tell it within a month and it's done.
Yeah.
Like, I do want to give them like the leeway to see if that works for them.
See, I think my thing is, because even when I ask about episodic, I ask it, I think even less so from the point of marketing and more so for the point of, does it serve the actual game? And I think I think part of my beef with it comes back to the original point you were talking about, Barrett, and your first thoughts in the review, being that the pacing can be kind of weird in this game, where we're talking about 45-minute episodes, and a chunk of that is eaten up by the dispatch part of Dispatch, right? Like, the actual gameplay part of the game, which I'm okay with. I think that's fun, but I think what that leaves you with is 20-something minutes of story, something around there. And so when you're talking about giving me 2 episodes a week, for me, I'm like, I wouldn't really want to wait that long. And I'm saying this is somebody who I have the first 4 episodes, but I stopped myself because I wanted to just have the first 2 for this review, because I didn't want to go ahead or get ahead of myself. But yeah, like for me, I'm kind of like, is this something I would wait every week for? Is this something I would want to have that break in between? Not really. Yeah. I want to just
I wanted to sell me on it, and that was my big disappointment for these first 2 episodes, is like, again, these first 2 episodes just feel like the trailer of like they're selling you on the character, the premise, all of this stuff.
Yes.
And I was waiting for that that good hook to have me, like, if we were the audience and we weren't reviewing this, and we didn't have early review copy, I wanted that final hook to be like, oh fuck, I can't wait till next week. And like, I want to think about like all of the possibilities, where I think like how episode 2 ends, and I won't say anything, it's like, I don't think it's interesting enough.
I agree.
And it's like, I needed this to hit more. Just because, and I think that's, again, to not say anything specific, it's more of like, not where they come at it from a superhero story, but more so from like an office comedy thing. That I just don't think it's like a very interesting or new like avenue to go down, where I'm like, okay, I was hoping for something a little different.
A little bit of a counter to it, and it's jumping off of Blessing's last point there. When these do come around every Wednesday for the next 3 weeks, right? Especially if I'm going to replay them all now, I will be excited, I think, if I don't fall behind. Because it is that idea of, as short as my gaming time is, oh man, this thing that I can accomplish in 45 minutes.
Yes.
That I can do with Jen before she goes to bed. And I like that will work for me. And I know that everybody's different, but like, in terms of the amount of times I sit down and it is like, I'm on a review and I know I have double-digit hours in front of me. Ugh. Whereas like this one being like, well, let's do this, knock that out in between things. Similar to how I was excited for Skate, of like jump in and do 3 challenges before I do the next thing, or when I'm done with the next review, jump in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have that little palate cleanser. Skate-a-ween today, can't wait. But like, yeah, like that. I think there is an angle to that, and I think it'll almost be like I forgot about it. I'm not on the edge of my seat. Like I got to know what happens next. Oh my God.
There are interesting threads,
Yeah.
but again, like I think that last beat needed to really like, oh man, I need to play episode 3 right now type of feeling, which I didn't get.
And that for me, that is I think something that makes episodic worthwhile nowadays. You know what I mean? Like we're in the streaming era. Everything is, hey, we're dropping the whole season at once. If
Well,
you
they stopped doing that now because it was eating them alive.
And
right?
and sometimes they're shaking it up. You know,
And
like Andor does 3, like what was it, 3-4 episodes?
Oh yeah,
like
Stranger
every
Things
week
is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Did you know Diego Luna is named Andor?
Wait, what are you saying? What are you saying to me right now?
Andor isn't a planet. It's the guy from Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cassian Andor.
Cassian Andor.
Ben got a Lego, and I saw the name there. I was like, ah.
You didn't know that? You thought okay, well, you know what? I guess
I've never watched Andor. I
guess
watched
that's
Rogue
good.
One.
I won't hold that against you because I think I probably thought the same thing before I started watching Andor, and then they called him Cassian Andor. I was like, oh yeah, it's Andor.
It still upsets me that you call Ahsoka Queen Amidala.
That's just a joke, though. That's just a joke, though, to make people
I
mad.
know.
It works. This was a real thing that happened.
To get back to the point I was about to make though, like I think we're in a place where like they're going back and forth. Stranger Things is doing the same thing, but even the last season of Stranger Things, which did a similar thing of I think
They did like half a season,
right? But that half season ended with a cliffhanger. Like not
And
that
it was a good one.
and not that everything needs a cliffhanger necessarily, but you need
some hook.
you need to make me go, damn, I can't wait for the next thing,
Yeah.
right? And I still can't wait for it because I'm giving this a 9 out of 10, right? I really enjoyed these first 2 episodes.
There was a game that did episodic, but it wasn't episodic. It was all
Life is Strange 3.
Life is Strange, True Colors,
right?
yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I remember they had great cliffhangers where I was doing the.
True Colors for sure did
I'm gonna
that.
do
True
this. I'm
Colors.
gonna do this thing and stop, and then I was like, oh fuck, I gotta see how this starts, and then you'd be into the next one. Yeah.
Like this is for me is right now. This is a game that I would have liked to binge, and I think your point about if you're not like if you're not buried in things or like you're gonna be ready to play this if you're not. I think that's doing a lot of heavy lifting, right? Like I think whenever it is for video games. Oh yeah, when the next thing drops, I'll be there for it. I think that fails most of the time.
I'm not. It is doing heavy lifting. I don't know. I don't think that's where we are anymore. I think it's way harder to capture attention and keep attention. So I do worry about this. I think you can look no further than DLC. We talk about this all the time, right? Of people who buy games, get the season pass, get the deluxe edition, and they never open the DLC. They never download the DLC, and they loved that game.
Yeah.
It's just that they never actually finished it. They put too much in it. They're so far gone. They turned on the DLC, and it's like, how do I play this anymore? I don't remember it. Those aren't the issues here, which I think works to its advantage. Of it could be you miss 3 weeks, or you fucking do episodes 1 and 2, and then a year from now, like, oh right, you could jump back in because this is just swiping the stick and very easy QTE.
That's the thing is, I think the thing that it has going for it is for the episodic thing is that it is such a frictionless game, right? It is like this can damn near just be a TV series. Like the interaction's limited until you get to the dispatch stuff. But I think that does kind of work for being something that's easy to turn on and go, all right, 2 new episodes are out. Let's put on some dispatch and play it real quick and kind of be done with it in a night.
One thing I want to circle back to is the cast, just because someone was like, content creators being this is selling me less on the game. I would say don't count them out because I think they're actually pretty well cast because I know
they're fantastic.
People can have a certain feeling about like, well, we could have gotten actual like voice actors in here and all this stuff. But I think they're like well utilized, and I don't think they overstay their welcome. Like, Charlie Moist Critical voices the bat sonar dude, and he has like maybe like 6 or 7 lines, right?
It's a lot of the throwaway stuff you're getting inside of these things. Aaron Paul, Aaron Yvette, and Laura Bailey, and Jeffrey Wright.
Are the cast.
That's the cast.
And you can tell like Laura Bailey is one of your Suicide Squad people. It's like, oh, that's the one voice actor. She's going to be important type of thing. And everybody else is just maybe set dressing. But again, after only 2 episodes, maybe I'm underselling of like how big they're going to be. But yeah, you also have Young Gravy in there who like from my understanding, is like kind of a social media musician dude. I don't know, but it's like that man's not a voice actor. But like,
But here's my thing: is I've played plenty of games, and I've been in games where I shouldn't be in that game, but they put me, and I don't. Everybody I've heard here, nobody I've been like, oof,
Yeah.
you're not a real voice actor.
no, yeah, like everybody fits their role like well. But again, I'm interested to see like, do they continue to have this level of just kind of like, oh, they're just talking a little bit during the dispatch sections, or you know, do they get more character stuff? Do they get more? Do they become more important in the story? I do want to shout out. There is one scene with either Samoan or Hawaiian character in the game that Alyssa had fallen asleep right before I got to the scene, and I had
Hanoi
to go,
Reed.
and so I went back to that scene to have her watch it. It's the voiced by The Rock's stunt double.
Oh,
And he's from Honolulu, and they just like, it really felt like they just didn't even write the scene. They're just like, just talk, just go. Like, it is full on like pigeon, and it is hilarious, and they do such a good job of like letting him do his thing, and that was like a standout scene for me. So I just wanted to shout out his performance, because right now his character seems like a bit of a smaller character, but then I'll be interested to see like how important he becomes and how like off script or whatever they'll let him go, because there's some deep pulls where I'm like, oh, that's stuff I've only heard while Alyssa's also talking to people.
I know we dove deep into the episodic conversation, but like I can't stress enough how much my love and adoration of this experience so far for the first 2 episodes is so carried by just the story and the performances of the characters. Like every scene I'm in, like this, I'm liking this as much as I like an Invincible, which is not what for me, that's such a high bar for what I get out of the Invincible show, and I know what everybody gets out of the Invincible show, but this is doing such a good job at being one of those, and I can't commend them enough for like how good the writing is in this game.
1,000%, I'm right there with you on all of that. Yeah, it's just that gameplay where I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be all about this for the rest of the episodes.
Yeah,
fair enough.
But you'll find out.
Last thing, we played on Steam Deck. How'd it work for you, Bliss? Someone was wondering.
It worked well for me on Steam. It worked perfectly for me on Steam Deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was getting some screen flashing every once in a while, like just like frames of black every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then like even having like the Steam Deck plugged into the like dock for the TV, like besides that it like works pretty well. I did think I was getting a visual bug for some of the like chance roll things in the dispatch stuff, but then looking at the gameplay from the demo, it looks like that was actually on purpose, and like it just looks the way they present some of the things that you help with, they only show like a piece of the stat, like a skill bar or whatever, and that some of that presentation was a little bit weird, but yeah, besides the every once in a while frames of black, it ran really well on Steam.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Okay, so to round it back out for the first 2 episodes, Barrett's got a 7.5, Bless has got a 9. I'm somewhere between a 7.5 and 8, probably more to 8. Like I said, I think amazing everything, and then the gameplay is the one where I was like, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see how it nets out over the next few weeks. I'm sure even if we don't do reviews, you'll hear us chatter on it about games dailies. And yeah, I'd love to at the end of this come back
do like a spoiler cast, full season review type of thing.
Oh yeah, everybody. This has been another episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. If you didn't know, each and every weekday we come to you with the biggest topics in video games, whether they be reviews, previews, or just topics we need to talk about. If you like that, of course, pick up a Kind of Funny membership, patreon.com/kindoffunny, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, Apple, Spotify. You can toss us $10, get all of our content ad-free, get your daily dose of me in a series we call Gregway, and of course, get good karma for supporting an 11-person small business. We will remember that. Your programming day is not over if you're watching live. They're about to play RV There Yet. RV, like recreational vehicle.
RV There Yet.
RV There Yet.
Do you think it's like Dracula?
Yeah, maybe. That'd be cool, huh?
Oh, shit.
We got a bit going on.
Dracula. I don't know why I thought
You like Ryan? You like Ryan Gosling?
If you aren't watching live, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames podcast services. You can catch everything later. For now, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.